The equation y equals 10x describes the money in dollars y earned by John for working x hours. The equation y equals 8x describes the money in dollars earned by Julie for working x hours. This is Show Me More Money Part 2. I'm going to, just for my ease of being able to quickly reference these, I'm told that John is y equals 10x and Julie is y equals 8x. I'm just rewriting it so that I don't have to pick it out of the sentence up there anymore. I can just refer to that. So part A, what would be the slope of each line if you graph the equations, and how do you know? So we have no graph. In fact, the graph down here is blank right now. What would be the slope? What do you predict the slope would be for John? And what would be the slope for Julie? Okay. Anyone have a prediction? What is the slope for John's graph? 10. And what would be a prediction that Julie's graph's slope would be? 8. Okay. And how do you know? What makes you make this prediction? Why 10? What did we learn from part 1 about the equation? Isn't the slope number the number multiplied by x? Okay, so what makes us think the slope is going to be 10 for John? From the equation y equals 10x. Well, I think it's because it's the number that's multiplied by x. 10 is in y equals 10x. And it is the number multiplied by x, so it is the slope, as we found from the part 1. And then for 8 is in y equals 8x. It's the number multiplied by x, so it's going to be our slope, assuming that the patterns we found on part 1 hold for all other equations. So John has a slope of 10, Julie has a slope of 8. All right, again, we do not have a picture, but which line is steeper? John's line or Julie's line? John's line. And how do you know John's line is steeper?
If you have the line, then 10 would be a little bit bigger than 8 would be steeper.
Okay, so you're saying 10 is bigger than 8, so 10 is steeper as a slope. Is that pretty much what you're saying? So a slope of 10 is steeper than a slope of 8. Okay? Yeah, 10 is bigger. That looks like 1078. That's a greater than symbol. 10 is bigger than 8. Okay, what is John's hourly rate? What is his dollars per hour? What's Julie's hourly rate? What's her dollars per hour? And on both of them, how do you know? Let's start with John's hourly rate. What is John making in dollars per hour? $10 per hour. Okay. And Julie, what's Julie making in dollars per hour? $8 per hour. We've got $10 per hour and $8 per hour. And how do we know that these are the answers? How do we know that John's making $10 per hour and Julie's making $8 per hour?
If you go to the equation for A, where it says y equals 10x and y equals 8x, the number times 8 is what is unit rated, so 10 out is $10 an hour for y.
Okay, so to summarize what the student said, on this side we learned that the number for the slope, the number for the equation, and the number in the unit rate were all the same. So we know that John makes $10 per hour because it's y equals 10x for John's equation, and John has a slope of 10. So John is making $10 per hour, Julie's making $8 per hour by the same argument. All right, Part D says to graph the equation. So the way we've graphed in the past is to have a table. So let's make a quick table for John. John has, we're going to have X, which is hours, and Y, which is dollars. And then we're going to do a table for Julie as well. X hours and Y dollars. Oh, that wasn't very straight. Okay. Now John, it's Y equals 10x. So if I plug in 1, I would get what? Go ahead and call it out. $10. If I had 20 hours or 2 hours, it would be $20, and 3 hours, $30, and etc. Okay, graphing that over here, 10 is not quite 12. It's probably about there. 2 is at 20. 20 is between 18 and 24, a little closer to 18. And 3 is at 30. This is a good one because it's right there, smack dab on the crossing point, the lattice point. And that's our first lattice point at 330. I'm going to create another one at 660 and another one at 990. And just draw a nice straight line. This would be John's earnings. And it is proportional. It's going to go right through the origin. And this is John, Y equals 10x. Okay, for Julie, if Julie works 0 hours, she makes $0. She's making $8 per hour, right? Look at the y-axis. Do you see any multiples of 8 that would be good to use so that I can graph a little more easily? Yeah?
24 and 3.
24. Yeah, 8 times 3 is 24. So if we do 3 hours, that's $24. We can do 6 hours, that's 48. We could do 9 hours, that would be 72. Okay, let's go ahead and plot those points. We've got 3 hours is $24. 6 hours is $48. 9 hours is $72. And that's as far as we went. We can probably go $12 is 96, or 12 hours is 96. Just do my quick little line draw here with a ruler. And this is y equals 8x. This is Julie's line. Okay. All right. That's it for part D. We graphed each equation. We even labeled them so we know which one's which. Use the graph to calculate slopes. Show your work on your graph and check to see if they agree with your answers from part A. So slope, remember for slope we need a right triangle. We're going to do rise and run, how much up it has compared to how much right it's going. How much up do we have in this triangle? Go ahead and call it up. How much are we going up? And it's a lot more than 5 because we're actually counting by 6 here, not by 1. How much do we go up getting from 30 to 60? How far is it from 30 to 60?
30.
30, okay. So this is a rise of 30. It's a run of, how much does it go to the right? This is just counting by 1, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's only going 3 over. So the slope for John is up 30, right 3, giving me a slope of 30/3, which is just 10. Okay? Next, it says to do it for Julie as well. Let's just do a nice little right triangle here. How much up do we have? And how much right do we have? Well, the right, since we're just counting by ones, that's just 3 to the right. How much up do we have?
24.
We have 24 for the up. So the slope for Julie is going to be 24 over 3, which is 8. So we get John's slope is 10, Julie's slope is 8. Didn't we already know that? In fact, the problem here says, use the graph to calculate slopes. Show your work on the graph. There is the work nicely shown. And check to see that they agree with your answers from part A. Do the answers agree? Did we get 10 for John's slope? Yeah, and now we know it from the graph as well, so we've gotten it twice. Did we get 8 for Julie's slope? Yeah, we did. We decided that the slope was 8 because it's the 8 in the y equals 8x. Okay? Our next lesson is all about the equation. The equation, maybe y equals 10x, y equals 8x. This is called a direct variation, and we'll get into that more in the next lesson.